Gig Nation, what's going on? This is the Gig Accountant. My name is Naz and I'm a licensed CPA in the state of New Jersey. I'm also a gig economy worker working on food delivery platforms such as Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates. Referral links are down in the description below. So, as the title of the video says, I have filed a complaint with the New Jersey State Department of Labor regarding Grubhub's business practices. This is violation of the ABC test regarding independent contractor relationships and enforcing forced labor, or attempting to enforce forced labor, slave labor. I had talked about this in my prior video that you guys can look up. And the reason I had filed this complaint, and I've already received a response from them, and they had advised me that they are forwarding my complaint to the New Jersey's Department of Labor's Compensation and Employment Division. So I thank them for that, and I'm also going to forward my email to the email address that they provided me, listing out in detail how Grubhub is violating the ABC test and the incident that I am referring to specifically. So it really pains me to be doing this because Grubhub actually is my best payout app. I do earn good money on Grubhub, but this incident that I had experienced, I feel like, is a microcosm of Grubhub's larger business practices, which is affecting many other independent contractors, many other Grubhub workers who are doing this maybe for a living. A lot of folks who are experiencing this type of treatment from Grubhub, this type where they're getting nickel and dime, getting their money stolen, getting not receiving the proper treatment as a independent contractor, having contracts violated, not honored by Grubhub. And Grubhub is doing this to the poorest folks in society, the most uninformed folks, and maybe even folks who don't even speak English that well. Maybe it's not their native tongue, so they're unable to communicate their ill treatment at the hands of Grubhub. They're unable to complain about have a voice for themselves, and they are just unaware who to reach out to regarding these incidents. So I feel like that I'm doing this for all of Grubhub's workers, all food delivery drivers who does business for Grubhub. So I just want to give you a quick recap as to what had occurred. So I've had my issues with Grubhub in the past where they have nickel and dime me regarding pay that I should be owed. But this has been the most egregious example of that. So like in the past, I've had incidents where I had received a order for an address from Grubhub, but it was improper address. I tried reaching up to Grubhub regarding that. Nobody could be helpful to me about it in a timely manner in order to get the delivery out to the customer. So I went ahead and delivered the order and reached out to Grubhub regarding like compensation for that work, and they flat out refused to provide that compensation. But this kind of really blows that incident out of the park, which really enraged me. The incident I'm referring to is that I was offered an order at a restaurant, and then I received a duplicate add-on order at the restaurant. So the first order was $6 plus $2 tip, $6 service fee plus $2 tip from the customer. Then I received a duplicate order, same exact order, and since it was an add-on offer, it was only $2 plus $2 tip from the customer. And this is a symptom of Grubhub's new pay model that was deployed in my region maybe last week, where the add-on order will be lesser than the original order because you're already going to that area. They do the calculation based on that. It used to be that both orders would be the exact same price, exact same payout. This is no longer the case. So I went to the restaurant, and I get there, and I'm advised that it was a duplicate order. They reached out to the customer about it, and the customer asked to have one of the orders canceled. So this is where I made the mistake. I've always tried to be proactive and helpful, do right by the customer, Grubhub and the restaurant. And so in order to be helpful in this situation, so that it is easy for Grubhub, for the customer's order to be canceled, I decided not to hit arrived, got ordered, and left. Because had I done that, I would have received the payout for both orders. And it would have been a lot more difficult, challenging. I don't even know if they'd be able to at that point. I don't think that they would be able to issue a cancellation to the customer. And the reason I say that is because in the past, I've had an order where the customer accidentally made two separate orders with separate different items. They wanted to combine it, but it was too late. Grubhub had informed them because the orders had already been assigned to the drivers. So we both made that delivery. And I guess we had already marked that we were there. So I didn't hit that I arrived. I didn't hit that I got the order. I didn't hit that I left until they canceled it and I received the order. After this, it occurred to me maybe I should check my payout just to confirm that I received the right payout. I didn't receive the add-on pay because that would be ridiculous, super ridiculous. So I was already in my car. I had already drove off, pulled over immediately because if I received based on past experience, if I received the incorrect payout, I wasn't going to move any further unless Grubhub remedied the situation. So I called out to Grubhub. They acknowledged the situation. They recognized it. So it was a technology issue on their part, on their behalf. But they said, sorry, we will not do anything about it. They tried to say they are unable to. It's a system thing. And the only thing that they could do is remove with penalty. They can't remove it without penalty. I know both those things are wrong because in the past I've had incidents where Grubhub incorrectly removed an order that I had already delivered. And they are unable to remove that remove with penalty at that point once they already done it. But they are able to reassign the order to you, give you your original payout, and then any other orders that were coming in, they would just remove that without penalty. So no penalty hit. So I know where they were lying. I called them out on it, but they still refused to fix the situation. I advised them that I had the order, and then they tried to enforce me to drive back to the restaurant to return the food without pay, and they were going to hit me as a reward, hit me with a penalty. So under threat of punishment, they were trying to enforce slave labor. And if you look up slave labor, that's exactly the definition of it. Forced labor with threat of punishment, non-compensated punishment. So this is the situation, this is the incident that I had wrote to the New Jersey Department of Labor regarding. I explained the situation. They replied to me. They said that they went over it and took the liberty to forward it to the correct division. So I'm going to continue to follow up with that. I'm going to explain very concisely, very succinctly how Grubhub is violating the ABC test that New Jersey has issued regarding independent contractors, as well as the incident of forced labor. And the reason I'm doing this is because subsequent to this incident, I reached out to customer care. There was notes that I was copied on notes from the driver support, and they lied and omitted about the facts about the situation. And I responded to that. I wrote many emails to driver support. I haven't received anything back. When I had reached out to driver support, I escalated to the manager, who just repeated what her underling stated. I asked if I could escalate this to anyone else. I asked if I could file a complaint regarding this, and the answer to that was no. I cannot. There's no one else to file a complaint to. Ain't that some ridiculous situation? So, this is why I decided to go ahead and push this incident and file a complaint with the New Jersey Department of Labor. Really, it's not so much the money. It's not so much the $4 that I am arguing, that I am disputing. It is the business practice, how Grubhub is exploiting the poorest among our society, the least informed, folks who are who may not even speak English that well, who are unable to communicate their complaints, their issues, who don't know who to go to with their complaint about Grubhub's ill treatment of the workers as independent contractors. And also, it was just how driver support treated the entire label of contract, independent contract. They were responding to my raising up a flag regarding them not honoring the contract as a joke. They just stated, "Oh, we didn't violate nothing." When I tried to explain them that about the details, they just weren't having it. So now this incident is being filed with the New Jersey Department of Labor and is being filed under the pretense. I don't know if that's the correct word because I think pretense means fake, but it's under the scope of the fact that this represents a larger issue. This represents a pattern with Grubhub with how they are treating their independent contractors, not honoring contracts, not honoring the independent contractor relationship, and trying to enforce forced labor, slave labor, under the threat of remedial non-compensated punishment. So that's all I got to say. I'm going to leave you with a quote of the day, quote of the video regarding that I think is apt for this situation. The quote is from Mahatma Gandhi, and he stated, "First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win." Alright guys, that's all I got to say for today. Be safe out there guys. Have a good one.